Hi, I am Adalia Gutierrez, and we invite you to be part of this vision in Cuba as we faithfully serve together in ministry.
Cuba has been shrouded in mystery since the Cuban Revolution led by Fidel Castro. When the Cuban government declared itself socialist, Cuba's relationship with the United States changed. The U.S. embargo on Cuba, followed by the Cuban Missile Crisis, began a pattern of mistrust that has lasted more than 50 years. It is not surprising that when Cuba and the U.S. began to explore normal diplomatic relations, many people in both countries felt hope. As diplomatic relations improve, International Ministries is seeking opportunities to learn more about their brothers and sisters in Cuba. How did they endure decades of communism? What resources do they need? How can new partnerships be formed? American Baptist work officially began in Cuba in 1898. The leaders of the Southern Baptists and American Baptists met in Washington, D.C., and it was decided that Southern Baptists would work in the western portion while American Baptists would focus in the eastern portion. During the 1900s, churches, schools, and hospitals were built. After the Cuban Revolution and the implementation of communism in 1961, foreign Protestant missionaries abandoned the country, as did many Baptist leaders and members of their churches. Those who stayed were detained, arrested, and some sent to labor camps. Churches had to be registered with the government. Any gatherings in homes or other public places were prohibited. Baptists never imagined that their faithfulness in sowing the gospel would bring unprecedented harvest. With the fall of Soviet support in the early 1990s, Cuba entered a decade of shortages of every type of resource. The streets were empty of vehicles and the markets of food. It became known as the special period. But it was during this struggle to simply stay alive that a spiritual awakening happened. In 1992, Christians implored a Cuban government for permission to build new churches to accommodate the growing crowds flooding the churches. The government asked, "What is it with you Christians and your buildings? Can't you pray in your houses?" So they did. God used this to explode the work of the gospel across Cuba. The Casa Culto House Church and Casas de Oración Houses of Prayer were born. A new period of development and growth continues. Today, 70% of the Cuban Baptist churches are house churches and houses of prayers. American Baptist leaders are exploring new partnerships with the Cuban Baptists. Mercy Gonzalez, Madeline Flores, Kathleen and Vital Pierre, Melinda Bates, David and Joyce Reed are traveling to Cuba once or twice a year to pursue projects related to their ministries. Cuban Baptists are seeking to equip leaders in the areas of youth ministries, discipleship, church planting, and have invited us to share resources for these ministries. Today, a new historical initiative is unfolding between Cuba and the United States, not only politically and economically, but also through partnership to grow God's kingdom. We invite you to be part of this vision as we faithfully serve in mission.